What we're going to do is a meditation that focuses on our breath. Now, what meditation? Meditation is not this mystical thing that results in an entirely different sort of experience. What it really is what we just did, focusing on and concentrating our attention in a way that is beneficial to the body and the mind. Because when we do the sort of thing we just did, we activate certain parts of our nervous system that help calm the body. In yoga, they call it effort and ease. In Sanskrit, it's sthira and sukha, which means what I just said. All right, it's about being active enough to do what you need to do, but at the same time, not being so uptight and overwhelmed that you harm yourself at the same time. So, basically, when I do yoga, it's about having calmness of mind, using enough energy to do the task without using any more than I need to. Right? So, we're going to do the same thing seated. This is fairly simple. So, I made my shoes on so I can reach the ground. I'm not very tall.
If you can't reach it,
Yeah, so put your shoes on if you can't reach the ground, and if you can't reach the ground, do the best you can. So, I'm just going to put them on without tying. So you want your feet flat. Back in your seat as much as you can. And for somebody, this might be a challenge. And you're shorter than me. So just place your hands comfortably. Hands can be folded or can be flat. Back fairly straight. Close your eyes. And begin to turn your awareness and senses inward. Most of the time our senses are our sight, our hearing, are focused, and they pull our attention in multiple different directions. I want you to try to be what's called one-pointed, focused on one part of your experience, which is your sound of your breath, the feeling of the breath, simply the breath, what's going on in the body. You're not trying to change it. You're simply just experiencing your breath without trying to alter it, improve it, or anything else. Meditation is really about concentration, along with an attitude which is of non-judgment. The thing that makes people good decision makers is that they don't react to the things immediately that happen to them. They have a space in there to view the event or the reaction and respond thoughtfully. And meditating even once a day for 5 minutes improves our ability to do that, to not be reactive. So right now, the goal of this exercise is to observe the breath without judging how the breath feels, or am I breathing properly, am I doing it correctly, and being open to investigating whatever experiences occur to you. I know for many of you this may be very hard because we're used to our minds going 100 miles an hour, and this is very different. And if you have other sorts of difficulties or traumas, closing your eyes and focusing inward can feel very dangerous as well. So if you need to open the eyes, that's perfectly fine. I would understand. And if you do, open the eyes and focus on one point on the floor so you're not distracted by what's going on with your neighbor or the people across from you. But just center on the breath. The most direct way to be present, which is part of what we're doing, is to awaken your body and feel it from the inside out. And that's what we're doing right now. If you're turning inward and viewing your breath. You might notice how the air comes in and touches softly your nostrils. Moves down, and you feel it on the roof of your mouth, into the throat, down into your lungs. And here you might feel the ribs moving. And most often we're aware of the ribs in the front moving forward. But see if you can notice the ribs pressing against the back of the chair, up under your arm. So you feel the ribs moving in all directions. Now let's just soften our faces and imagine that you are smiling with your eyes. For all of you, that might be a different sort of sensation. Let's also smile from our heart, from our hearts. Some of you may have noticed that you have drifted away from this exercise into the past or present, because now you're more focused on your thoughts than your breath. And that's pretty normal, especially for those who aren't used to practicing this kind of focus or meditation. So if you've done that, don't judge, don't beat yourself up, don't criticize. Just recognize what's happened and come back to your breath. Whenever we're caught in our thoughts, we're not in our present moment. We're unable to appreciate what's happening to us at this time. And we're losing something. It's not possible to be always in the moment. None of us are perfect. And actually, it may not serve our purposes best to be always in the present. We want to know how to be there, to not be lost. And if you're presently in this moment, focused on the body, focused on the breath, you might find that there's some unpleasant things that arise. That's all part of your experience. And please recognize that if this is going on, please remember that if you attend to these things, they lose their power. This is what we tell our clients if you're one of the therapists in the room. Attending to the unpleasantness eventually makes it subside and go away. It loses power over you. The other bit here you need to remember is that how do you know what's good if you don't also know what's unpleasant? It's a package deal. One doesn't come without the other. Try not to react to it or judge it if that's occurring to you now. Just be present with the breath. And if it's uncomfortable, focusing more on the breath will help you move through it. Regard with kindness what arises. In fact, you can say that to yourself as you inhale and exhale rhythmically. Guard, inhaling with kindness as you exhale what arises. before we end, let's see if we can make ourselves relax just a bit more. Mind and body and heart. Practicing a curious mind, observing the inner space. Begin to deepen our breath a bit. And remember that you can choose to be present now with a relaxed attentiveness. And that's within your power. That can be a personal choice. So slowly open the eye. But before you start to look around, find a spot on the ground. Just slowly open the eyes as you focus. Get up. Pull the head up. Look at someone around you in a circle and smile.